What's up, guys? All right, so you got your Vector X's out of the box. I know you're super stoked to use them, and I want to go over some things with you guys before you actually get out and use them, because it seems as ridiculously simple as it is. However, making sure that you set your binos up properly and then focus them properly is going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to make observing and using the binoculars much easier, and it's going to cause less eye strain and eye fatigue on you. Nobody likes optics headaches. They're really, really gnarly, and it takes a lot to get rid of them. And so here's some tips and tricks on how to make sure that you don't have headaches. Okay, so when you get your binoculars, we have obviously two monocles making a binocular. So with the Vector X, we have the right monocle that contains your reticle, whether or not you got the single or the dual. Understand that those reticles are in the second focal plane. So if you're going to use your range extenders on your binoculars, you're going to want to make sure that the reticle that you select is appropriate for your use. So in this case, I have the dual reticle in this set, and I'm not going to be using the range extenders, but the thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is that the reticle is what we're going to work on focusing first. But before we even get into that, your binoculars have something called an interpupillary distance, right? So the interpupillary distance is basically the center line of the left and right monocle as dictated by how far away your eyes are apart. And so everybody's eyes are going to be a little bit differently. Making sure that you set that appropriately, so that way when you set the binos in your hard mount or you bring them up to your eyes, that you're actually seeing a full field of view that's given to you by the binoculars themselves, based upon the optical engineering. What I like to do to get this all set up is I use a tripod. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Really Right Stuff mount here that I've mounted to the Vector X that we saw in the previous video. So that way I can go get a real good, solid, stable platform and focus on making sure that all of my settings are proper. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get myself into the binoculars, and I'm gonna manipulate the interpupillary distance so that way I am seeing as much of a full field of view as possible without kind of the shadows and the sliver moons on either side, left or right. So once that interpupillary distance is set, now it's time for us to focus the reticle. So what I like to do when I focus the reticle is I'm going to aim the reticle at the sky. You can also do this at home in a well-lit room with, you know, a blank wall, preferably a white wall or a really lightly colored wall, because what I'm looking for is the crispness of the reticle, because each of these right and left monocles need to be focused to the prescription of my eyes. I know that my right eye and my left eye have a different prescription, so don't be distraught, I guess is the right word, if your focus setting is different for your right and your left monocle. First thing I'm going to do is I keep my eye cups collapsed in, right? If I'm going to be using the binos in a hard mount scenario, so that way I can just kind of float my head behind them, and I don't have to worry about those, you know, those eye cups constantly being in contact with my ocular lobes here. So I'm going to get in there and I'm going to focus on the right monocle first. And so what I want you guys to do here is keep both eyes open, and you're going to take your left hand and you're going to cover the left monocle. So this way, all we're doing is we're allowing both eyes to stay open and keep as much equilibrium with focus as possible. Meaning if you close one eye, it's going to make the right eye basically work harder. So we don't want to do that. We want to basically leave both eyes open and then cover the right or the left monocle here. So when I get into the binocular, you'll see and you'll feel right away that keeping both eyes open with the left one closed, things just relax more, right? And that's what we want. We want that eye to be naturally relaxed because we don't want it to strain to keep the reticle in focus. Because if the reticle's out of focus and your eyeball is straining, that constant pressure, that's where those optical headaches are going to come into play, and they're no fun. So I get in here and I'm going to take my right monocle and I'm going to find my diopter adjustment, and I'm going to make little incremental adjustments and then look away. And then I'm going to look back in, make an adjustment, look away, and keep fine-tuning that until I get that reticle completely clear and crisp. It's the exact same process that you use with a rifle scope. So now that we have the right monocle focused, this is also where your heads-up display is, and when that comes up, you're going to be able to see clearly what your focus is, and you're going to be able to see that display very, very clearly, okay? So now the next step is to get the left monocle focused on the same plane as the right monocle for the left prescription. So now we're going to come in and we're going to actually bring our binoculars into something and actually focus on an object. Maybe it's a target, maybe it's, you know, something at distance at your house that you can see, but that's really what we want to do. So I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to focus on a target here at, let's go mid distance of about 500 yards. So I'm going to lock that guy in. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my binocular focus, which is the actual dual focus. It's going to manipulate both of the lenses equally. And I'm going to take this focus and I'm going to make sure that that 500-yard target covering up my right eye is clearly in focus. I'm sorry, making sure that my left eye is covered up, making sure that that's clearly in focus. So now I should have an image with the reticle completely clear and crisp, as well as the target completely clear and crisp. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take your right hand and you're going to cover up that right monocle and you're going to observe the target with your left eye and you're going to dial this focus in with your diopter on the left eye here and go past it. Just make sure that you're getting it. If it takes a couple of tries, it's not a big deal. We want to make sure that we get this right. Take it out of focus, take it back in and then out of focus again, and then hone in on that guy and make sure that it's exactly the way you want it. So now what we've done is we've focused each individual monocle to our prescriptions, and now when I adjust the main focus knob here, it's going to move that focal point in and out at the same perspective for each monocle, okay? So now I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to come over to the 300-yard target. Make sure that that's clear and crisp. I'm going to cover up my right eye. Looks good. Cover up my left eye. Looks really clear and crisp. And then we're going to go back out here to distance. Let's go out here to 1,000. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to focus that nice and clear and crisp. Cover up the right eye, still clear. Cover up the left eye, still clear. So that, guys, is how you can focus your Vector X's. This is the way that I was taught how to focus binoculars many years ago. And this is going to make sure that you have both your left and right monocles focused for your prescription. You can see your reticle, you can see your heads-up display, and you have the ability to be in focus with both eyes back and forth. So you guys try this, make sure that you get it right. If it takes a couple of times, no sweat, no big deal. Moving on to the next video.